May the Devil Take You 2 is the sequel to Netflix's May the Devil Take You. But this time, we're not on Netflix, we're on Shudder, which kind of surprised me. And this is written and directed by the same guy, Timo, however you say his last name. I don't even know if that's how you say his first name, but Timo. I don't know how else I would say it. But now, when it comes to the first one, just so you guys kind of understand where I'm coming from with this series now, is that I felt fairly underwhelmed with that movie because I thought that it lacked the punch that this director should have brought to it. This director has some phenomenal work, whether it's his Safe Haven anthology segment in VHS2 or his martial arts masterpiece The Night Comes For Us, which is gory and violent and chaotic and action packed and has great characters and amazing iconic moments, and that movie's incredible, a remarkable film. As to where the first one from this series, May the Devil Take You, I was just shocked that I couldn't, that they cut away from so many kills. That the violence that was called for, because as I said in my first review for the original, was that the film was essentially an Evil Dead, a modern day Evil Dead, more of the serious toned one like the Fede Alvarez one. And it just wasn't there. And it's coming from a guy who is making a foreign film. He's making a film for Netflix. I don't even know if it was made for Netflix, but he could have done whatever the hell he wanted, and it just wasn't really there. So I was a little disappointed. So when I heard there was this sequel, I was like, all right, I'm intrigued. Maybe this will kind of make up for that movie. Not that it's a bad movie. I like it, actually. I thought it was good. I just think it was the director that made my expectations kind of a little too high, maybe. And I feel like the same issue is here, that I have these unbelievable expectations from this director. I want this extreme gore fest, just pure chaos. And with this one, I feel like this one is better for me. I just feel like more is happening and more gore is shown. But the setup for this movie is essentially the girl who survives the first one. It flash forwards to 2 years later, and her and the other survivor are kidnapped by this group of orphans, and they want her help with this demon that she's had some kind of dealings with. And so she, doesn't really want to help them, obviously, for obvious reasons, whether it's be that she doesn't want to do it again or that she was kidnapped against her will, whatever. But of course, there's no choice, and they have to face these demonic beings. I thought the payoff was better here. I was definitely a bigger fan of this one. I didn't care for any of the characters. I didn't find any of them to be interesting or unique. The storyline didn't grab me much at all. But with a film like this, it's not absolutely necessary, but it would be nice, Because if you take Evil Dead, which is what it feels the most like, Ash is a great character, and I really like him. And it's not that I don't like the main character. I'm just kind of blah on her, and I'm kind of blah on everybody in this film. So there's no heightened tensions or anything when characters are in peril, because I don't care. Also, the storyline is extremely weak. I mean, it is literally what I just told you, and that's it. There's nothing else to it. It's we kidnap this girl, we want help, and then they fight the demons, movie's over. So there's nothing along the lines of that. As far as the effects go, which I think is what we're here for the most, they're pretty good. There's a couple moments where I was like, oh, that was cool. And the pace of the film is better than the first one for me. It's definitely got more going on. It takes a little teeny bit to get going, but not much. And I feel like once it gets started, it doesn't let up, which is good. I just think that what would have made this film far superior and made it work for me much, much more is the things I already mentioned. But if we could have had a stronger motive, better characters that I was actually interested in, and ramp up the violence to a fucking 15. You know, we're past 11, we're past 13, we're going all the way to 15 with this one. I want it to be an absolute gore extravaganza. And I look at something like 2013's Evil Dead, 13, right? I think so. And that film is violent as fuck. I mean, just chainsaws, and it's a wild ride, man. It's gory, it's bloody, it's crazy. Now, maybe that has more of a budget. That could be a factor into all of this, but I don't know. I just feel like with this director, with this premise, with the opportunities that would be presented in something like this, I just feel like this and the previous film, this series, I don't know if they'll make a 3, but this series should be one of my favorite series running right now. This should be one of those movies where I'm like coming here to record this and being like, guys, drop everything. You know, this is the most underrated fucking franchise in horror right now, whatever. I would never say the word underrated, but I was just being funny. I just think that this should be better than it is. But it's good. They're both completely watchable, and I do think there will be a good amount of people who absolutely love them and think I'm crazy. So I do think I'm being a little hard on these movies because of the director attached. Would these films be better for me if the director was somebody else? And as I said in my previous one, I don't think so, but I'm open to the discussion of it. Like, I would like to really sit down and maybe watch them back to back and be like, am I being too hard on this film because of the director, because of The Night Comes for Us, and because of Safe Haven? Do I take that bar? It's kind of like, when you watch certain directors work and you're just like, I expect so much more from you. But if you saw like that same film from a nobody director, you'd be like, yeah, that was better than you would have thought if it had been somebody else. So yeah, this one too thin of plot, not enough violence, gore, stuff that I would have hoped for, but it is better than it is in the first one. To my memory, it's been a couple of years now, so it's been a little while. So maybe I'm crazy, and I'll go watch the first one and be like, oh no, that one was better. But I would want to watch these back to back. I would watch these again. I think that's a good thing, that I would watch these again, because I definitely think they're watchable. I think they're pretty good. I just think they could be great, and it frustrates me. Does that make sense? I think that's my biggest issue with these movies, is it's frustrating to watch how good these could have been and how fine they are. Like, I'm like, yeah, all right, that was good. And I do think, honestly, if this was a different director, I would probably be sitting here like, yeah, this is a pretty fun ride. So maybe I'm being a little much, but regardless, that's the way I feel. I'm curious. Check it out on Shudder. So Netflix for the first, Shudder for the second. Check it out. Let me know.